Flies like the old scale.
2 steps ahead. I am always 2 steps ahead.
We've had a lot of weird conspiracies during our time. For example, many years ago, we had Timmy Thick, someone that would post quite provocative pictures of themselves on the internet. And then later, a tweet came out saying that this was entirely a Harvard experiment. And then it actually got so bad that Harvard had to come out themselves and say, no, this has nothing to do with us. Another great example is the legendary times of 2016, where you would have YouTubers do pranks out in public, but they would dub them as social experiments. Well, we've had a lot of social experiments in our time, but I feel that Nikocado Avocado has done the first real social experiment, pulling the rug underneath everyone. Now, if you don't know what's happened with Nikocado Avocado, you saw the Critical video on it. It's basically redundant me even doing a video once Critical has already covered it. But I have the added bonus of chat roasting me, apparently me being devastated that Nikocado Avocado lost weight.
Breaking
now
news,
on TikTok.
Pyro has now unsubscribed to Nikocado Avocado due to losing his weight. Inflation fat.
Okay, there's a difference. There's a difference. Now, Nikocado is not new to the PyroLive slop mill, and to be fair, he's not new to the internet in general. He's beefed with loads of creators, and from what I've heard, is suing quite a lot of them as well. He's actually reached that level of infamy that he managed to get himself the Meat Canyon special treatment. And it's your fault! And then Nikocado reacted to said video while doing a mukbang at the same time.
It's your fault. I'm wearing the wrong shirt. It's your fault.
And then on top of that as well, got Meat Canyon and Umperville to do a mukbang together. And then it went even further with Umperville doing multiple collabs with Nikocado Avocado, and they even had a podcast that was very short-lived. Most people don't actually remember that they did have a podcast together. So it's no secret that Nikocado Avocado is a marketing genius. The guy is so smart. He manages to turn any negative controversy in a way to get clicks and attention onto his channel. I'm sure you've all seen the videos of him in a mobility scooter going around Walmart, hitting stuff, crying, even parts where he's apparently defecating himself in videos. Oops. This is all a really smart ploy because in reality, Nikocado is playing a character. To look into Nikocado's content is you are basically trying to understand the ending of Lost. I've even seen YouTubers that have had these 7-layered game theories on how, for example, Nikocado's only doing this and only destroying his body by putting on so much weight so quickly because he's trying to fulfill a fantasy, and he might even have a sugar daddy.
He deleted old footage and clips as if it's him pretending to be someone else's channel. I don't understand. But this is on his own channel that's doing this. And at that moment when I realized that this is just a fetish thing.
One thing I do want to say after watching that clip, do not look at the other tab the guy has opened. I have no idea why he has that. Okay, that's weird. So, of course, the main problem everyone had with Nikocado is the fact that he was borderline fetishizing his content. Doing mukbangs to the point that most people would eat that amount of calories probably within a week, not in one sitting. Now, I'm not telling people what to do with their bodies. Of course, Pyrocynical would say that. But the point I'm trying to make is he actually got so much notoriety from doing all this that, he was sat there in an oxygen mask at one point. And I remember Critical doing a video, I think over a year ago, basically saying that this YouTuber is killing himself slowly for views. And keep in mind, a lot of people forget this because they only know the fat Nikocado Avocado. Years ago, basically when starting YouTube, the guy was skinny. He was skinny and he was a vegan YouTuber. And one of the first videos he actually uploaded was him basically quitting being a vegan. And that's when all the weight gain started. So from his own words, he basically left the vegan community mostly due to mental health issues. And originally when he blew up, I don't mean in Korea, I mean literally in size, a lot of people were concerned, but I think originally it probably was just excess weight. I mean, when you're a vegan, we don't tend to eat more healthily. That's not true. A lot of people that are vegans usually just live off fries and stuff, but I assume he had a certain diet, and when he stopped being vegan, that basically just completely fell out the window. And I think a lot of people found Nikocado Avocado, and they were bullying him because he was fat, and then he realized, wait, I'm actually getting more views doing this, so I tell you what I'm I'm going to do? I'm going to double down. I'm going to make even more content like this. I'm going to bait even more people. This is one of the first examples I've ever seen of a profitable lol cow. So there's loads of people out there on the internet, like, you know, Boogie, Only Used to Be Blade, like, you know, a lot of people that, like, you know, they get made fun of and they get no views. It is the worst outcome you could ever have in your career. But Nikocado is walking that tightrope perfectly. He's hated online. He's been villainized, but he gets views, so it is worth it. I mean, obviously, looking at this from like an actual human perspective, not just like, you know, content brain Andy, obviously over time, this would ruin anyone's mental health. I've been playing a lot of Fear and Hunger recently. It's basically like the mind bar just like slowly shrinking over time. And I feel like money and views only get you so far, because if you're hated on the internet and you can't play it well, i.e. you're not a psychopath, then it sucks. It degrades you. And I think that's one of the reasons why he basically lost all of this weight and now he's skinny. Now, to the actual video itself, he does begin with this infamous quote, 2 steps ahead. I am always 2 steps ahead.
2 steps ahead. I am always 2 steps ahead.
Now, he actually dropped 2 videos, which a lot of people didn't notice. He dropped one on his main channel, and then he dropped one on his second channel. And again, you look at the main channel, there hasn't been an upload for over 7 months. And then on the second channel, there's been an upload in the past 3 months, which led a lot of people to believe that he's basically been pre-recording all of his videos for the past couple of years. Now, I've gone through both of the videos and I've watched them in their entirety. He purposely keeps it vague how he lost the weight. A lot of people think he was like taking illicit substances. A lot of people think he was just Ozempic coping. I really don't think people understand that Ozempic is not this miracle weight loss drug that everyone thinks it is. Okay, I'm gonna go on this rant about Ozempic for a second, right? So a good example, right? A lot of people in the fitness industry, they're absolutely enormous, like Sam Sulek. You can look at that person and say, Lamau, you're on trend. You can say that guilt-free, but then when someone loses weight now, a lot of people jump on that train by saying, oh, it's Ozempic. He's Ozempic coping. Ozempic final boss. Again, I don't think people understand, like, Ozempic itself does not help you lose weight. Ozempic, all it does is kill your appetite. And the reason why a lot of people are fat is because there's just, like, so much junk food. I remember, like, I think I've only been to America, like, twice in my life. I feel so bad for you guys. Like, the UK is horrendous for food and nutrition, but America, it's like, I swear, like, you go into any supermarket in America, 90% of it will be just, like, you know, packaged junk food ready to eat, and then the other 10% will actually be like food, like actual food that you need to go home, prepare, cut, boil, all that kind of stuff. I don't cook. That takes too long. I'm just going to eat the Takis instead. Now, he goes on a very weird rant, which is basically up there with Heath Ledger's Joker or any Far Cry villain to date. You know, he said he's 2 steps ahead. He then says that this was the greatest social experiment he has ever done.
This has been the greatest social experiment for my entire life. It's alluring. It's compelling. It's gripping.
And then he goes on this weird rant saying like everyone's following mob mentality and you're all just ants.
I feel as if I'm monitoring ants on an ant farm. One follows another, follows another, follows another. It's mesmerizing. It's spellbinding. All these little consumers, all of these lost and bored people. People consuming anything that they're told to consume.
And then he takes this panda head off to reveal that he is, in fact, the villain.
So I am the villain because I've made myself one.
So I kind of told a bit of a lie earlier on in the video. You know how I said that he never actually explicitly said how he lost the weight? He did. He said he had a dream and he woke up, and when he woke up, he lost 250 pounds. For some reason, I don't really believe that. I'm not sure why.
Today I woke up from a very long dream. And I also woke up having lost 250 pounds off of my body.
Also, I do want to say, a lot of people just completely skimmed over this video. Obviously, you know, Nikocado is doing this whole bit, you know, like an evil character arc, and he's lost all this weight, because I think, again, the guy's a marketing genius, right? If he just did a video saying he lost the weight and it was a wholesome video, people would be like, wow, that's cool. Anyways, but by making it out that he's been like a villain all along, he's building up that persona, and it's really smart because everyone is talking about him, including me, because I like money. But the point I want to make is that panda head is really, really important, and a lot of videos I've I've watched. I watched Critical's video and no one else's, but I'm just going to say I watched a lot of videos. No one actually seemed to pick up that the panda head has a lot of significance in like a really bad way. So you might remember a video floating around on YouTube called Why I'm Scared of Nikocado Avocado, uploaded by Stephanie Soo. This has been in like loads of meme formats and stuff now. Most people probably haven't even watched a second of the video. They just know the meme format of where she looks terrified and right above is like Nikocado Avocado screaming or something in a different thumbnail. But one thing that's really important is the panda head that Nikocado Avocado is wearing is the exact same panda head that Stephanie's husband wears. And Stephanie's husband wears that on purpose to conceal and hide his identity. And obviously, if you can guess, Stephanie and Nikocado are not on good terms. There's actually a tweet here pointing it out. As for the panda head, when he reveals his weight loss, Stephanie's husband famously keeps his identity anonymous by wearing that exact panda head. So it's 100% intended to be a slight at Stephanie. Now, the Stephanie Soo and Nikocado drama runs deep. I mean, that original video, like Why I'm Scared of Him, that came out 4 years ago, and they still haven't managed to patch it up since. There was a tweet I found which basically tried to like briefly summarize the entire beef. So Nikocado was cool at first, and they shared intimate aspects of their life which built trust between them. That was all shattered when Nikocado started trying to pressure Soo into spilling tea about her drama with another creator. Soo kept trying to avoid the conversation, saying it's over, and she had no bad feelings from the falling out which she had with said creator. Nikocado kept pressing her. He recommended that they collab on a video spilling tea, and she was like, no, I don't want to do that. But then he'd use her words against her and pressure her. During the filming, he brought it up, and even though she was clearly uncomfortable, and he made it seem like she had some big problem with the creator, but like you said, XYZ, twisting her words. After, Soo felt scared because Nikocado is known to make call-out videos, so she was afraid he'd share the personal stuff that she confided in him about. Now, I can't exactly vouch for that claim, but I have heard through the grapevine, again, with no proof whatsoever, so the biggest, fattest allegedly, but Nikocado Avocado is apparently someone that is known to sue quite a lot of other content creators. Apparently there's like a lot of ongoing lawsuits and stuff. Although she was uncomfortable, she finished the third agreed collab video. The next day they were texting and calling her to try and film the last collab, but Soo was literally asleep after a night of panic attacks. She told them that she was in and out of sleep. Nikocado was angry. He felt he'd been kept waiting for her just to cancel. After failing to pressure her into still doing it, he took to Insta story saying he had audio files and receipts about a certain creator. Later, Soo discovered something in her CCTV footage. Now, this is where the rabbit hole gets even deeper, and we do talk about like some SA stuff, so if you don't want to, you know, watch that, I'm gonna put like a timestamp on screen for when I stop talking about it. Backstory: I believe Stephanie Soo was sexually assaulted in her own home, so she's very serious about security. She had like a CCTV set up. He knew about her trauma and fears and such regarding security. Anyway, Nikocado kept saying weird things about her home and how nice it was. At one point, she stepped away momentarily to go to the bathroom, I believe, and she could see that Nikocado had taken pictures of her security system during that time from the CCTV, which was creepy. Like, why my security system? Why would you wait till she left to do that, and without permission? Soo felt anxious after that and had the breakdown that caused her to sleep in. Not only was she anxious because he kept threatening to expose her on Insta, but he also intimidated her and manipulated her, not taking no for an answer, which is why the topic of SA came up. She found out that he had made a Me Too joke in a past video and lamented about a date he went on, and the dude didn't want to sleep with him, and how annoyed he was because he had gone all the way down there just to not get laid. It was gross and weird. Soo reached out to the person they talked about and how scary and manipulative Nikocado was. Nick spread negative rumors about Soo, so other creators joined him in making fun of her in and out of sleep, comment publicly, filming videos about them saying it. Now, this rabbit hole with, like, you know, Nikocado and Stephanie Soo, I feel like this is going to be dug up again because he's back in the spotlight. Honestly, like, that entire thing that I read, there is absolutely no proof in anything that has been mentioned. It's kind of just like a, you know, like Nikocado could basically just come out now and say, no, that's not true. And where'd you go from that? It turns into a he said, she said situation. I know it takes away from the video a bit, but I did want to mention it because I noticed a lot of people are bringing up the Stephanie Soo stuff again. Now, going back to the weight loss, it is kind of funny because he does say in the video that prior to him losing the weight, a lot of people were just calling him, you know, fat, sick, boring, irrelevant.
People were calling me fat and sick and boring and irrelevant.
I think irrelevant is the one you really can't use because the guy was pulling like millions of views per video. Again, he was hated online. He knew he was hated online. But if you're pulling in those views and you can deal with the mental anguish of the entire internet on your back, it's worth it. But yeah, then he doubles down again, basically saying he's always been 2 steps ahead, and then bizarrely doing a Kubrick stare into the camera for a few seconds. If you've seen like A Clockwork Orange or like any Kubrick film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
People are the most messed up creatures on the entire planet, and yet I've still managed to stay 2 steps ahead of everyone.
And then after that bizarre Far Cry, you know how you play a Far Cry game and you get like the intro to the villain and it will be like a really good like 10-minute monologue, and then you don't see them again until like 3 hours into the game, and then you probably see them again when you kill them at the end. That is basically the same intro that Nikocado has here, because as soon as he's done with that, the tone instantly changes and it goes straight to like this wholesome mukbang with him with his parrot called Mr. Noodles. And then if you go onto the second channel video, believe me, I watched all of these. I became like a Nikocado Avocado scholar. I was trying so hard to find like any kind of like secret messages or links or anything, but there was nothing. And the second video basically is wholesome throughout. It doesn't have that kind of like dark, ominous message like the first video does. But one important tidbit he does share is he says at one point in the video that he hasn't recorded a video like this in 2 years.
I haven't made a video for like 2 years.
So it's reason to believe that he has been basically losing this weight consistently for the past 2 years. And I think you have to give the guy credit. Like, he has lost an incredible amount of weight. And I think as well, he's done it in a very clean way. He doesn't seem to have like, you know, any kind of like loose skin or anything, which usually happens when you have incredibly quick and dramatic weight loss. I think he's just been like slowly doing it for the past 2 years, to the point that the skin on his body has actually had time to adjust. I mean, obviously he's wearing, you know, a red shirt in the video. You can't tell like what the belly's doing down here. You can't tell if he's like covered in stretch marks, but like it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm genuinely happy for the guy. I don't watch his content. I'm not like a fan or anything, but like, you know, to lose that much weight, whether it be like, you know, exercising, not eating as much, which is probably that one to be fair, you know, even like Ozempic coping, you know, like no matter what he's done, it's obviously worked for him. So, you know, congrats. Like, I cannot hate on that. Now, in the videos as well, after the, you know, Joseph Sneed Far Cry 5 dialogue, how he's going to like, you know, start his own cult, he does actually seem to have changed his mannerisms, you know, his personality. He's a lot more like, you know, he doesn't have a temper anymore. He's a lot more soft-spoken. He almost seems to be worried that people won't like him anymore. I don't think this is actual Nikocado Avocado. I think this is like another kind of like persona. You know, he's got these like chaotic little outbursts he has where he'd like, you know, fart and like start crying or something, or like, you know, miss a bit of food and just like start tearing up. All of this like this chaotic element, this like negative karma aspect of him, it's been completely wiped. And to be fair, one thing that's really surprising, even though he's like so dead skinny now, he still manages in both of these mukbangs to devour an entire plate of noodles, which I think he said himself at one point was like 5,000 calories. Now, is he actually eating these noodles? Because a lot of mukbangers do like cuts and stuff where they just spit the food out afterwards, which is just disgusting, like absolute waste of food. I know that's me complaining about that, all right? But like I'm saying, I think there's something really wrong about like promoting binge eating and then you just like spit it out off camera. But Nikocado is known for his mukbangs for having basically minimal cuts. And honestly, a lot of professional, he's probably eating right now the same way that a lot of professional eaters do. In the same sense as like Beard Meets Food, Matt Stoney. These are people that will binge eat like an insane amount of food one day of the week. And then the other 6 days of the week, they're literally just living off like protein shakes, a couple eggs. That's it, because they know that the one day of the week they're in a calorie surplus, and that's fine. Usually the way it works is like if you're in a calorie surplus for like one day, maybe two, you're okay. That's fine. Anything after that, it's over. But yeah, if you manage to like bottle it down to like 1 or 2 days and then the rest of the days you're in like a deficit, it's fine. It balances itself out. So that's usually the cheat code when you see like a bunch of like skinny people eat like 20,000 calories and it's like, how do you not look like a parasitical commission? What is that? This then led to loads and loads of people making memes to the guy straight away. Like, for example, they're saying that Nikocado looks like the scout from Team Fortress 2. To be fair, not that dissimilar. The red shirt and the cap is really helping. There's a picture of him before and after the weight loss, you know, saying before and after uninstalling League of Legends. Nikocado Avocado is a psychological horror to me. He's been saying it's an experiment from the start, but the way he dropped all his morals of being a vegan, put on this act for years, and then secretly lost it all for a gotcha moment, I am scared of him and his dedication. And then there's one Nikocado Avocado coming back after 7 months with skinny Peter Griffin. There's something wrong about skinny Peter Griffin. I think it's the neck. There's something really wrong about that. Pop Crave even did a tweet saying Nikocado revealed his 250-pound weight loss in a new YouTube video titled 2 Steps Ahead. He claims he'd secretly been losing weight while posting old videos in what he called the greatest social experiment of my life. And then someone quote tweeted him, because Twitter works on quote tweets, ratioed the account immediately saying, Nikocado showing his fully inflamed and uncensored asshole as part of his plan. If you know, you know. That's real, by the way. I think he did like an OnlyFans or something. The only thing I know about that picture, I haven't actually seen the original. I've just seen people like use other items to make it look like the original picture. Nikocado Avocado was never spiritually fat. He's a classically trained violinist. He understands discipline and was never out of control. It's been a fairly obvious Kaufman-esque performance art since the beginning. Holy schizo poster. People are even pointing out, saying that like this could be one of the best face reveals of all time if Nikocado never actually shown his face. Even saying that like, you know, Wavy Websurf putting out a tweet saying, Dream should have done his face reveal like this, bro, would be goated. If this man's really had vids stockpiled for 2 years so he could lose weight in secret, he's won at 5D chess. So is this planned? It seems so. If you look at the time frame between his most recent video and the last video where he was fat, it's 7 months. But I don't think he could have achieved this in 7 months without visible signs, sagging skin, etc. But yeah, it's like what I said, you know, he's got like no actual, you know, stretch marks or anything like no, because the skin would literally be hanging down to like here or something, right? I think one thing that's really funny about this as well, a lot of YouTubers recently, like for example Sonny, dropped videos talking about how Nikocado, you know, has like ruined his life, everything's in shambles, and I feel like there's been so many videos dropped on him in the past week. He was waiting, right, for the opportune moment where he was getting the most amount of hate possible online, and then he thought, you know what? We're dropping the video 2 steps ahead. There was also other people on Twitter that were gloating that they were right all along. Like this one artist, Psych, basically saying that Nikocado was wearing a fat suit the entire time. And Mike made a really good call out. So he said this back in 2023 of May. I'm calling it now. He's nearing the end of his social experiment. This was all an internet act, and he's actually a health expert. He knew exactly when was the breaking point, and he knows exactly how to drop weight fast. It's all going to be a big documentary. And then he quote tweets himself a year later saying, well, and that got like nearly 1 million likes. Jesus. But what a lot of people didn't actually realize is throughout the videos that he uploaded, apparently in advance, he did make a lot of low-key hints about his transformation. Now again, like I said, even though his main channel video was posted 7 months ago, his second channel video before the weight loss one was only posted 3 months ago. And in that video, even though he's still a bit of a big chungus, a heckin' wholesome chunker, he does actually look like he's definitely lost some weight. Now, remember that Umperville podcast that I talked about earlier on in the video? That's really important because if you go on the D-Fire podcast channel, Dumpster Fire podcast, Nikocado ended up uploading a lot of videos himself, and one of them, a year ago, he does look pretty skinny. I mean, he's still like a little bit chunky, like it's nothing crazy, but yeah, like compared to how he did in his last video a year ago, this is one of those videos I think that actually managed to slip through the cracks. But the ruse was obviously still going, and that was one that kind of slipped through the cracks for like, you know, super fans to find out, I guess, because his third channel, which posted a video a week ago, actually had a video of him back at his biggest. But this video was actually a collab he had with Hungry Fat Chick from 2 years ago, despite being posted at the time of recording 6 days ago. He even links a different collab that the two of them did 2 years ago in the comment section. The same thing goes for his fourth channel as well. So he really, like, this guy stocked up on like months worth of footage before he made the decision that, yep, okay, I'm going to stop being fat now. And I think on purpose, he left little breadcrumb trails. Like, for example, him on the podcast channel he had with Umperville, he actually had himself like more skinny, but that was posted less recently than this video being a week ago. I feel he left a trail so people could put 2 and 2 together, but obviously the majority of the public, they just see like, oh, you're fat, and that's it. And then Reddit scholars discovered, just that sentence. Reddit scholars discovered that he actually had the the idea to set this plan in motion to stop being fat years ago. You know, having that exact same monologue that he actually had in yesterday's video, just ripping that off one to one. Now, not to go conspiracy mode, but a thumbnail for a mukbang on his third channel, compare that to 2020 and then 2024. I'm not sure if that was actually him from this year, but that was something that I think everyone overlooked. But yeah, again, like, I can't hate on the guy for the weight loss journey. Like that is commendable. And he fooled the entire internet. Like I said, there's been so many commentary videos that have like came out with these huge exposés on him. And then he's done like a complete 180 and been like, no, I'm not fat anymore. Obviously, there's other things they go into detail and stuff that, you know, I've kind of skimmed over with, like with the Stephanie Soo stuff, that there's a lot more. But obviously, a lot of people are clicking on this video to find out Fat Man is no longer Fat Man. He used to be Fat Man, but Fat Man secretly becoming Skinny Man while uploading videos publicly as Fat Man. But again, he's pulled back his persona, like what I mentioned earlier. I have no idea what kind of content he's going to do now. He's peaked right now. I feel like he's peaked, but he still needs to keep riding that wave. So I feel like, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think he's going to do a Christian Bale thing. If you don't know Christian Bale, he's played Batman, Patrick Bateman. You know who he is. But the point I'm trying to make is he's got really shredded for roles in films. But then on the flip side, he's got really fat. A lot of, you know, people that like work as actors and stuff, they get on trend, they get on gear. Like for the Avengers films, they're like, you know, gear up and stuff. And then after that, they kind of get out of shape a little bit. But Christian Bale is someone that consistently puts on weight or loses weight. I mean, there was a film where he played Dick Cheney, I think, and he got pretty fat for that one. And then the biggest he's ever been, like muscle-wise, is when he was playing Batman as well. And then on the complete flip side of the spectrum, there's a film that he was in that I think that came out like 2009 or something, called The Machinist. And in that film, he looks like a jump scare you would see in a Roblox map. He looks terrifying. But yeah, going through the videos, you know, the main channel and the second channel video, he does almost seem to be a little bit remorseful of the character that he was playing. I still think that he's playing a character, definitely. But, you know, this might be... he's going to change. If he's lost all this weight, he's also going to have a huge personality change. I don't think it's going to be him. I think it's going to be a new persona he's crafted. I'm talking about like M. Night Shyamalan, the film Split now. But it'll be interesting to see what he does next. Like, I feel if he's not acting like as much of a lol cow, his career might slowly go down, but I'm not really sure. I mean, even now, like, you go on his banner and his merch is still him fat, saying it's your fault, it's just water weight. And honestly, I feel now more people are going to buy that merch than ever as like a show of support. Like it's almost like putting it in a museum, because that fat Nikocado, there's a pretty high chance that we're never going to see him again. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What's the moral of today's story? Fat.